Hi everyone, this is Dawn-Marie with CreativeDMEDesigns, and it's the final look through of my fall collab journal for DearJulieJulie and Cara Brandon's collab. It's going to be my shortest video because I really am truly just going to do a walkthrough. Anything that I've taped to do these final things, I will put on my channel, YouTube channel later. But this is just supposed to be a walkthrough. I did some really interesting things in the end, and part of my journaling process is I go through and do the little things at the end, like putting any words or little tiny embellishments or adding the little things. So there is a lot of change in this. Even things that I had done and said were complete were not, because I still had to put words and tiny embellishments on them. The other way I do my journals is that I never put any of the cards to send them out. I never put the cards actually in the journal unless there's supposed to be one specifically in a specific area. I let the people use the cards as they will and put them where they want to. So I do attach a small envelope with them in it. I have not made that envelope because I usually do embellish that also. I believe that I'm probably going to make something out of this, or actually what's on here, to be the embellishment envelope when and if it gets bought and sent out. Some other exciting news: I am going to start an Etsy account very soon, and I also have started a coffee account for anybody who's interested in giving me a coffee. But let's get back to the hop and showing my final journal that I made with the DearJulieJulie and Cara Brandon's fall collab. So I hope that this is going to be zoomed in enough for you guys. This is what I ended up coming down to for the front. This is a belly band of sorts. This is a mother of pearl belt buckle, vintage from one of the grandmothers. Of course, we have the book, and if you remember, there were brown ribbons hanging off the end. I did end up cutting those because it was just too much. You can see that there's lots of danglies coming off the bottom, and you'll see those as I get to the pages. I added this also. So this is also a belly band that you can put several things in. The best thing that I have found to put in there is actually my bundle of tags. It looks great back there, having a couple of the small ones hang out. So that would be a great idea for that. And what I'll probably do is show these as I'm suggesting places for, and I'll bring them up. This was my bundle of tags, and I did add words and numbers. Left the backs blank. That one I added a button to, and this one I added a word, a button, and some yellow ribbon. Okay, so the closure is a vintage brown ribbon. This ribbon I know came from my house, and I used to wear it in my hair when I was a little girl. And these are brass back loop buttons of mother of pearl. I believe this one might just be plastic, at the end with big knots holding them on. This right here, I ended up having to cut. I took 2 days. I left them hanging, trying to decide how to do it. I ended up stitching up and down that several times, and then I also put a stitch blocker on it, just to make sure that it didn't unravel. But it took a lot for me to cut that lace. Okay, here's my first page. Remember, this is a pocket. Anything could go in here. You know, from a tag to you adding special extra paper in there. Remember that it's got the fabric as the gusset, so it gives you a little extra room. And if they happen to stick out, it's okay because it just embellishes it when you close it. This was also the original page that I put in, and there's a tuck here for something small, like that. This was a new page that I did. This is the book plate for somebody to put their name in here. I will tuck an about this journal note in for whoever gets this. I always do those right before I send them out. This is like a little belly band, but it's done at a different angle. And I just love these little square roots. I just think they're so cute. Square roots and owls, even though this is a predator to that, those are two of my favorite animals. We had already seen this one. I did nothing to change this. This is a small belly band too. I like belly bands. This is a pocket. Nothing changed here. This is a pocket also. I didn't change anything there. Some of the older things I had done to completion. Oops. See this one? Oh, so the other thing you'll notice is that I did make blank pages. I put something on them to make them easier to write on. So it's either got a piece of really thin paper on it, and then towards the back when there were a lot more, I did end up doing some painting and stenciling techniques, and you'll see that. I do plan on putting a piece of paper there so that you don't see just that back. I just missed that one, just like I missed an entire section of pages that were stuck together, and figured out that I had to add them yesterday. So this was a tuck, and that was a writing surface, if you remember correctly. I believe that was from the first time. This is new, and this is only in here because it was glued on last night, and I did not want to the glue to get on the page. So I had just put the horses down because I wanted to use them. You can see that I did sort of some distressing of this page. But last night I made sort of like a belly band, sort of just to capture. You can put almost the entire page length in it because those are corner tucks. This is a piece of lace, small piece of lace that I found. I like the lace compared to the jute. But at the end of the jute, I had them hanging long. I separated this one into the three plies that it was and added 3 little danglies to them. And then this one, I added just a very masculine looking button, but I added, to hide the post, I added some of the tan seam binding. This was one from the very first time. The one thing I added to it was the $3 sticker from my grandmother's barn sales. I have been saving those because I keep finding them attached to things, and I already had a 3, so I put this one in. I do plan on doing a page of all of her stickers, and hopefully either giving it as a thank you gift or using it or putting it in a shop for Etsy. This right here, of course, was my hunting page. And that one, of course, will go here. That's what I made for that one. And then I did find this amazing gun ad. So I made it into a card, and then on the back, I put a deer, and I added some extra stuff. So this one does belong in this pocket. Okay, I had the cows, and I added that. This right here I just added last night because I actually realized I didn't have anything on this page. I found this ad for mince pies with a cow. If anybody doesn't know what a mincemeat pie is, it actually uses meat. And so this one, I guess, is for a cow meat pie. And I found this black piece of lace that I ended up sticking back together. I cut it apart and made this a pocket, but I think it's funny that it sort of looks like a tombstone, or like you're in bereavement for the cows, because it's in black. So I do like that. And this is a big, huge pocket that you could put something like this in. And that card has striking on it. The only thing I did add is this little thing at the top. I actually am going to show you. It's falling apart. That's why I'm cutting it. You can see that at some point somebody took it off of whatever it was on, which probably was Grandma Millie, and this part right here is falling apart, which is what it was attached to in the first place. So I've just been cutting these lengths off. This is all I have to my name. So I love that. Learn to Fly I added to that because I thought, of course it's an owl. And both of them, if you remember, are belly bands. I like belly bands because you can actually write above and below them. You can see that I did some distressing on this. This paper was very, very, very delicate. I had glued like 3 pages together to get it. But I took a very, very, very light sandpaper. Actually, it was something you would buff your nails with. And don't look at my nails, please. They're awful. And I took some of the writing off to make that look distressed. And then I've added tissue paper and tea bags and ink and stencils and all that kind of stuff in the background on the blank pages where you would write just enough to give some sort of interest. So, and that was a belly band too. This was the last one I had done, and it was like a recollage of the collage. And something like this would just hold one of the bigger things as a holder. I actually am thinking of possibly putting a hole here and a hole here to put a piece of ribbon through. And like I usually say, well, my journals are never done until I send them out. So this is probably the closest to being done that I've done a journal in a long time, unless I've actually been ready to send it out. And the reason why I was thinking of doing that is that it would be a holder for the taller things that are bigger than the book, which this one happens to be. And then this one is a pocket, if you remember correctly. This one's just a pretty page. It was starting to break up, and so I just made it a writing page. I love my little eggies up here, and that is from a tea bag. And actually, that was supposed to dangle, but it must have hit some glue. I did make the back of it as a flip out of this card here. There is a card in the back of that. And I also made a vertical belly band. And you can see here I even used some old paper. Some paper towels from like the garage to do that page. I really like how this cork ribbon right here is very rugged and, you know, not delicate, but it's with delicate things. And this is really rough. And that's rough, but there's delicate on it. So that, I like doing things that are different textures and different things that all end up tying everything together. So that does go in that one just because it's perfect there. This is a writing page, but it's also got a little tab holder. And I did add that. I added this seam binding and the name to that one. This one, if you remember, was a pocket, and I added to that. This is the other side of the little flip, and I added words to it, and I added this jute and then some of the ribbons, lace seam binding. This was an insert that I had done. I'm not sure how far along this was when I had shown it last time, but I had added this to it to give some color. This was from the original book, and I really liked the picture, so I added it. The back of it was the lace doily, the very vintage lace doily that I did just ink. And then I added this little weird, a friend of mine gave me a whole bunch of these little round discs that she put some sort of treatment on to make it all look crunchy and crackly like snow or ice. This was a blank page. You can sort of see here the stamp that I used. I used really light green, so you can barely see it. This right here is a tea bag. My husband's been giving me all of his tea bags. Sometimes he remembers and sometimes he doesn't. This was a tiny piece of lace that I had. This is just a pretty page. It doesn't have, you can't hold anything in it. And then I did make a little bulb doohickey thing here with vintage buttons. There is some mica on it. That shiny right there is mica. And then I put it, I glued it all to a piece of the cork ribbon. And I used some of the edges to the tea bags like I've been using throughout. This one is the little square root again. This is a square root flip, and you'll have places to write on the back there. And this is where the square root's supposed to go, is right in there, and it says, "He maintained a careful distance." So that's a little belly band for that one. This was my double mushroom page. I still may put something on the back of this to hold it all together because you can see that it's coming apart, but there are two very nice pages to write on behind it, and you can stick stuff in. What I added to this was the top of a book, you know, around the edge of the spine, some jute, and a little sticker that's a key. There's a lot of those in here because I had a big sheet of them that I could cut apart. This is a piece of book binding. I had added this right here so it hid the paper. So on that I added a wrinkly piece of Julie's paper and added some mushroom stamps and mushroom stickers to that. I really love the mushrooms in this. This was in one of my first ones, and of course it's a stick, and there's a small little tiny holder back here for something. So that's that. And oh, I didn't add anything to this. This is the same as it was. And this one actually was supposed to go in the very first pocket, and you could write on that. I named this guy Theodore, and then I did add this and that one hook that I'm using now for everything. I tried to find sayings that either were funny for who it was around or meant something about or renamed. So I used some of that really pretty fabric I had here, a sticker, and a stamp. And I had put these strange papers down to do specific things like that. And you can see that this one too has the very light green stamping on it that you can write over. This one right here, I'm not doing anything to it. I love the napkin that's on it. I did a stamp on the edge, and it's totally for writing. It's plain, but it's still pretty. I really love that napkin. I just got it this weekend. Or Friday. Thursday. I got it on Thursday. This was a thing of Julie's from her mushroom kit. I had cut it to be a pocket for something else. It didn't work out where I was going to put it in my other journal, so I put it in here. I just really like how anything you stick in there is going to come up through the mound of mushrooms. And then I added these little mushrooms down here. I love this little bear. He sort of looks like a puppy, so I put him there with some more stickers, and you can see that I really did distress that a lot. Once I got other paper on it, I took a higher grade sandpaper to it. I added a little top to that using the edge of the book. You can definitely see the distressing here. This is a flip up I made. This right here is from a Reader's Digest. I add that, and on the back, it's just something pretty. Added that. I really, really love this cork ribbon. I don't know where I got it, so I don't know if I'll ever be able to find it again. These are just pages. Like I said, there were a lot of pages in the middle that are for writing that I just did edge things on it and distressed them. And I didn't want, reason why I'm bringing it up to you guys is I don't want to have to play with the zoom. This is one that you can tuck something up underneath. I found another bear. I thought he was so cute. I love this little grouping. A lot of cutting went into this. And there'll be something else later that a lot of cutting went into. This is one of those little things that I was talking about. You can see this one a little better. I don't know what she used on it, but she gave me a whole bunch of them, and I'm starting to use it. Also, behind it is a piece of mica. I'm trying to get you to see. Oh, see, there's a little clear layer there. I had something that was made out of mica, and it broke apart during one of our moves, and I've kept all the pieces to it. This is a slide so that you can put something slid in here. There. This, if you remember correctly, was one of the things I made. I added that to it, and it is like a little book. And this paper is paper that I had made myself. Another one that I made and just did for writing, and there is mica on that one too. I don't know how the mica is going to stand up. It's going to probably crumble, but it gives something extra to the book. It's that extra texture. This was from a napkin or a piece of tissue. I can't remember, but I really liked this little tiny quote that I found, and I did put it at the top there behind with some tea bag edges behind it. This was one of the pockets that I had made in the challenge. I added the number to it, and I added a little corner up here. The corner actually is hiding the page edge corner that I had done up there. So this right here is another page that you could write on, but I did make another edge to it. This one is both an edge down here, so this comes up to go there, but also this right here is an edge, so it's a double edge. This was one I had made from the beginning, and I have not added to that. This was one I had made for the one of the days, but I did add this at the bottom. I added a little just mica piece on a bulb pin. The key, which is really pretty. This is another mostly blank page, but with a corner. This also was from a binding, page binding, and I love this little owl looking at the book with a candle going. This is a belly band that I made with some really pretty bling bling on it. And this prop, I don't know if that's going to go in there. This is pretty big. This is one of those that might just get stuck in. I added this to it, I think. And I did add this little top of the tag. This is a corner pocket or a corner tuck. I had put this on, but what I've added to it is the word. I added this little piece of lace, and I added this jute with a mother of pearl button, but it's a very strange button because it's only got two little tiny things at the top. I think it was meant to be a dangle. I have a couple of these, and when I put this across, I thought, oh, that's going to be perfect for one of those weird buttons I have. So I did add that. And then it comes over, and it comes over to this corner pocket also. And actually, I think I glued that down when I glued that. It doesn't matter. That jute was sucking up the glue like you wouldn't believe. This is one of the pockets that I had made. Remember, it's see-through. And it's for something like this. I think that's actually what's supposed to go in there. And like I said, the paper is very brittle. We'll find something. And I also will fix that rip that just happened when I tried to put something that didn't fit in there. Ooh, yuck. Piece of glue. This was a blank page. I really liked the stuff on it. So I made a little top tuck. And actually it's like 3 tucks or 4 tucks because there's this first base. And then there's this one and that layer. And then there's this layer. And I used this, which was a flip from the other side. And it says, preserve this keepsake, which I think is really cool. This is a pocket. I did add this edge because what's on the next page. And you can see that I added a big hold button, mother of pearl button with a vintage clock key on it. This came from my papa's house. And when I went into the can, which actually is still the can that he used, a really cool vintage looking coffee can, at the very bottom was a keychain that said, I love my Lapsu Apsu, which would have been Caesar, the dog that my aunt got my Mimi and Papa a long, long time ago. In fact, my dog Archie was still around. So this page is my love. I love this page. I don't know if you guys saw this already. So this is what I was explaining when I noticed that my video had gone off. So I will explain it again. This is a woven page. What I did is I used a very long piece of ribbon, and I knew the page dimensions, and I glued these into the ribbon first, and I did it for this side too. Let that sit a day to make sure that it was nice and glued. And then I came back and I only glued the ones at the edges so that this could be used to slide little things into. But it also is one big, huge pocket, or not a pocket, slide in, whatever you want to call it. These are little stickers that I cut out individually. All of them were on one page, except for this one. I was missing one, and actually I didn't have something to go down here, so I just added wording, and it says where only the imagination can go, which for this page I think is great. This is a flip-up that I made. It's also got that really pretty, and it's not Christmas, it's very fall, napkin behind it. This is all cut out and and each one stuck, you know, between and around, and so it does look like it's all bunched up. And then now we're at the very last page, which this is from a Julie. It's from a very large doily or mantle cloth. This was from one of Julie's collages, Cara's collages, and it had been cut. So what I did is I took some of the tea bag and I made it all bunched up, and I made sure that it stayed to the dimensions of the skirt. So I made her her own skirt out of a tea bag. And this is just a little flip up with some really cool stuff on the back. And then the last 2 pages I left absolutely blank because that's how they were in the book. You can see this one's coming out. This is a very fragile book. I have been fixing it every time I open it. And before, you know, it goes out, all the little things will be fixed. But when you get a book from 1902 or 1903, I think it was, no, 1912, it's going to be very, very brittle. And I tried to make it as thin as possible. I didn't put a lot towards the binding in the back. I made things a lot of edge, which does make it a little gator-mouthed. But you can tie it like this, and it really pulls it together. And you just do a little bow here, and it pulls it a lot together. The other thing I have done here is this actually overlaps. So if you really wanted to make it, you know, secure, or you didn't want things to fall out, I have made an extra pin here that you can, you know, put it together like this also. I did try to loop the ribbon through, but those holes there were just not big enough. So it is a totally closable journal, and I really like it like that. And then with all the little bits and pieces coming out on the bottom and on the top too, you got quite a bit there. The only other thing I want to show you, and I realized I should have showed you either at the beginning or at the end, one of the ways I did keep this on to make sure that the ribbon would stay on is that I did put a button here on the inside, and that holds the ribbon and keeps it there. And then I couldn't find the same button, but I put a very unusual button here. It's very concave. You can see how deep that button is, and holds that there. And if you really wanted to have this ribbon, that was my thing saying that Julie's going to be on. If you really truly wanted the ribbon to capture the lace on this side, a little, you know, stitch there, and it really would pull everything over rather than having to use a pin each and every time. Where did this one come from? This one came off of something because I know it was in there already. So, oh, so some of the buttons, this is actually a piece of bone. It is a homemade button, and you can see how big those holes are. This was from one of my vintage grandma things, but this is bone. I ran out of space. So I think it zoomed in a little more because I had to play with my thing. So this is going to be my final. This is my thank you. I just want to thank Julie and Cara for coming up with this wonderful fall creative endeavor. I want to thank all of my fawns out there that made their own things. Oh my gosh, you've got to come and look at some of these. I have not seen their finals, but I will watch them soon. But I have watched them throughout the whole process. So make sure that you go on and watch all of theirs, and make sure that you know, join their groups or join their YouTube channels and get notices that they're coming up with some new stuff. Do that for mine also, if you wouldn't mind. I love to hear from all of my friends that say wonderful things about, you know, stuff that I've done. And you can say crappy things too if you want. I'll take it or leave it. One of the things I want you to know is that I have fun doing everything that I do. If I'm not having fun doing it, I'm going to stop. And it goes and sits someplace. I really enjoy crafting with both Julie's and Cara's digital kits. They're lots of fun, but I do also want to make sure that you all know that I try to recycle and reuse as much as I can. I try to use the mail that we get in the you know, in the mail, all the junk that comes in. I always try to reuse something that's in my stash because I've got so many things from family, paper and photos, and you saw a lot of things from both my Mimi and my Grandma Millie's sewing kits this time. So I'm not a creator that has to have everything brand new. I recycle. If somebody wants to ever say, hey, Dawn-Marie, what would you do with this? And then hand me something that's unusual, I would find a way to use it. So if you can think of anything, or you have anything, or you want to give me any challenges, please, I will put them on here. And I really want to grow my channel. And being in this collab has helped me out a lot. And I want to thank every single person who joined my YouTube channel. And want to give you all hugs and kisses from Abby and from Billy Goat. They are standing very nicely behind me on my chair. And I want you to remember to have fun with everything you do. Be happy every single day. Even if you're dealing with stressful things, always find something happy to do. And always give your fur babies lots of attention, hugs, and kisses. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.